Good to be home again for the Miami Marlins. Back in Miami, Marlins went 3-2 on the road trip, and a nice long homestand starts with the Colorado Rockies. The Marlins, the Rockies, come on inside Marlins Park. The Rockies are scuffling. The Marlins have the best record in the month of May. Jose Reyes and company, Troy Tulowitzki is here. The legendary Todd Helton. Ozzie Guillen and the Fish trying to keep the good times going against Carlos Gonzalez and the Rockies. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Welcome to a night of baseball here in Miami. It is rare in this game that you can say tonight we will be a part of history. But then again, if you're following the Rockies, every 5 days you're part of that history when Jamie Moyer pitches.
Absolutely. I checked with all the scouts. No radar guns at all in this one tonight. 49-year-old Jamie Moyer, who is one of the most well-prepared pitchers in the game, goes against Mark Buehrle. Moyer has won 105 games since he turned 40 years old. So this guy's amazing, and we do have a little part of history tonight.
Now, you saw that record against the Fish. There's Buehrle. And the interesting thing here is a lot of people tell Buehrle, you know, you look like a young Jamie Moyer out there.
He throws a little harder. Buehrle will top out 85, 86. He's number 4 on the active list. All-time wins amongst lefties, of course, Moyer number 1. Coming off a good start, Mark Buehrle is last time out against the Atlanta Braves. He was the winning pitcher.
All right, the stage is set. The ageless wonder. Jamie Moyer takes the hill, and Mark Buehrle is ready to meet him. The Fish, the Rockies, Game 1 in Miami. Colorado and the Marlins. Let's start things with Craig Minervini and Jeff Conine.
All right, Rich, thank you very much. It's exciting tonight. Mark Buehrle goes start this homestand off, and Jamie Moyer, and everybody's excited to see Jamie Moyer, 49 years old. Can he keep on doing it? Former teammate.
Former teammate. I played with him in 2006, and he was old back then. You know, I didn't know how much longer he'd be lasting, but here we are in 2012. He's still going strong. one of the best prepared, hardest working individuals I think I've ever played with, and that's a testament and the reason why he's pitching today in a Major League game.
Did not win 20 games until he turned 37, and he won 21 2 years later. Now, among the guys who faced Jamie Moyer, Marlins executive, colleague of Mr. Conine's, Hall of Famer Tony Perez. And I asked Tony if this made him feel young, having faced a guy who's pitching in the game tonight.
No, it made me feel old. Facing a guy who been playing, he's almost 50. Wow, I don't know. But that don't make me feel any younger, though.
When Tony told me to face him, I don't think Jamie Moyer is 50. I think he's about 58. Tony Perez facing. Oh, come on, no. Wow. You better check his birth certificate, because if Tony facing, I doubt now it's 50 something.
It's a little wild, but I think it's like probably the coolest thing I've ever heard. You know, the guy's been having success in the big leagues for so long, and he still continues to have success. So it's a testament to his hard work.
Are you familiar with when Jamie Moyer? I know you know he's old, but do you know when he made his start?
Was it before '86?
It was actually in '86. It was in June of 1986.
Yeah, I was 2 months old. April, May, June. Yeah, going on 3 months, celebrating a 3-month birthday.
I mean, how crazy is that to think you're 2 months old, the guy makes his big league debut, your team's facing him tonight?
He must be doing something right. Shoot, pitching for 26 years in the big leagues. Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
Right now, the way he throws, I feel like I can face him again.
And get a hit.
Maybe. I don't know. He's getting everybody out now still.
Well, Tony 0 for 3, but he might want to not take on you, Niner, because he's in your book, as we showed earlier.
He's a multiple entrant into my book.
3 homers.
3 times. That's the home run book, folks, if you didn't know that.
3 homers for Niner against Jamie Moyer, who will not turn 50 until November 18th. Can he come back another year? We'll see. If he keeps pitching like he has, I think the answer could be affirmative. We got a good matchup. Veteran lefties. You call a 33-year-old a veteran. Buehrle and Moyer coming up next.
Have had a terrific run in May. They are 14-5 in May, and there's a look at Mark Buehrle, who makes start number 9. Won his last start, though he didn't pitch all that well. It was in Atlanta, an 8-4 win, and Buehrle gave up all 4 runs in his 6 innings of work. Pinch a penny, the first pitch. Marco Scutaro takes strike 1.
And the Rockies, Rich, have a few hitters that have faced Buehrle before, so some familiarity there.
Big breaking ball, and Scudero is one of those guys.
Yeah, 8 for 20. He's had pretty good success against Buehrle. Yeah, Buehrle coming off a nice win in Atlanta.
Buehrle misses away, and it's 2-1. His numbers from that Braves outing. Scudero pulls it, Hanley to his left, straightens up and throws him out. So an out. Now the Rockies have dropped 4 in a row. They were swept at home by Seattle. You've seen Scudero. Jordan Pacheco is a versatile young player. Carlos Gonzalez is one of the most talented players in the game. Michael Kadire has been a nice addition in the cleanup spot. Troy Tulowitzki has been bumped down to the 5 spot. Todd Helton is slumping right now. Ramon Hernandez, the veteran catcher. Dexter Fowler, the speedy center fielder. Ed Moyer hits 9th. Buehrle right to the attack. Ted Barrett calling a strike on Jordan Pacheco, the 26-year-old out of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
You know, Rich, that's a good description because you have guys, and both of them actually will do it, guys who don't overpower hitters, but they attack hitters in the strike zone.
That's the myth about both Buehrle and Moyer, is that if you take a lot of pitches, then you'll finally get a good one to hit. If you take a lot of pitches, you're going to strike out looking. Off of Buehrle's foot, and he's unable to pick it up. You flash back to that play that he made on opening day, I think it was last year, where he had it off his foot and then he shoveled it between his legs, and this one he just couldn't pick up.
Looked like on the heel, somewhere on that foot. You hope it was on the foot, not up on the ankle. He's still hurting when he tries to go over to scoop that to first base. Doesn't scoop it, and it'll be a base hit for Pacheco.
Buehrle, who has won 3 consecutive Gold Gloves and 3 consecutive Fielding Bible Awards, that must have hurt, because that was a rather routine play once the ball was rolling towards first base. For Buehrle, it was a routine play. It's going to be a base hit for Pacheco. And now you get into the teeth of the Rockies order. Carlos Gonzalez and Michael Kadire behind him, and Tulowitzki slotted 5th tonight for Jim Tracy's Colorado Rockies. And this is Gonzalez, who's having a nice offensive year. Goes after the first pitch, and he fouls it off. He has faced Buehrle 6 times. He's got 4 hits against him.
Not a big sample size, but a successful sample size.
26-year-old Venezuelan. Had the big season in 2010. He was 3rd in the MVP voting a couple years ago. Shoots that one into left field. That's going to drop for a base hit. Kearns will pick it up. Pacheco will stop at second. And Buehrle's given up a couple of hits. Here comes Kadire, and here comes the Marlins defense.
Well, check out the defense tonight with Austin Kearns getting the start. Brian Peterson will cover a lot of ground in center. Stanton in right, Hanley and Reyes. Donnie Murphy with the start again in the absence of Omar Infante. Logan Morrison's at first, and John Buck behind the plate.
Well, if you're the Rockies and you got a couple guys on, this is a guy you'd like up there against Buehrle. Michael Kadire has 104 career at-bats against Mark Buehrle. He fouls the first pitch back to the screen. 3 home runs in that span. You can see the season that he's having right now. Longtime Twin, 14 years in the Twins organization. Pacheco's at second. Cargo's at first. And the 0-1.
You always hate to see a guy like Kadire, who's been not real hot. He's been cold. 3 for his last 17. However, those 3 hits were yesterday. He was 3 for 4.
Rockies with a comeback that just fell short against Seattle yesterday. And Buehrle misses down low. There's Jim Tracy in his 4th year as the skipper of the Rockies. Last year, a 73-89 finish. The worst for the Rockies since 2005. Buehrle gets a strike and evens the count on Cuddyer at 2-2.
Yeah, you talked about Buehrle pitching against Cuddyer, all those matchups the White Sox had with the Twins.
Two goes after a changeup and fouls it off. Cuddyer, an all-star last year, the only Twin to make the all-star team, and he's a guy, and we talked about it with Jason Kubel as well, kind of overlooked with Joe Mauer, Justin Morneau, but Cuddyer, a big part of the Twins' success when he was there.
He's also, Rich, one of those guys out of the Chesapeake, Virginia area.
Cuddyer hits a ball to left field and deep. Back goes Kearns at the track, and it's off the wall, and he overran it. It bounces by him. 2 runs are going to score. Pacheco scores, Gonzalez scores, and Cuddyer gets Buehrle again.
You have that kind of track record, over 100 career at-bats against Mark Buehrle. You know the numbers don't lie. That cutter kind of ran in, but Cuddyer was ready for it. Thought this ball might have been caught by Kearns, who appeared to get there, and the ball dropped for a 2-base hit, a big double, 2 RBIs for Cuddyer.
Now Tulowitzki. You rarely see Troy Tulowitzki in a funk or a slump, but he comes in hitting just .252. His career numbers against the Marlins.
You have to wonder right now if that foot is bothering Buehrle.
Cuddyer's at second, and he misses outside. Buehrle hit on the foot by Jordan Pacheco's drive here in the first inning. Gonzalez followed with a single. Cuddyer drove them both home. Changeup for a strike. That 79-mile-an-hour changeup is probably the top end of Jamie Moyer's fastball tonight.
Yeah, he might reach 80 with his fastball. We had Josh Johnson throwing changeups yesterday in Cleveland, the 88 to 90 variety.
Buehrle misses in, and it's 3-1. Highest percentage of changeups this season. Moyer, James Shields, and Buehrle atop the list. 3-1 coming. That one is hammered left field and deep. Kearns looks up, and it's gone. And the Rockies come out and smack Mark Buehrle right in the face. A 2-run shot by Troy Tulowitzki.
Like I said, you always hate to see guys that have been struggling. We mentioned Cuddyer, 3 for 17. Tulowitzki, not a 260 hitter. And all of a sudden, you know, sooner or later, they're going to rise to where they usually are, their average. And a changeup, they've read the scouting report. They know that behind in the count, Buehrle likes to throw the changeup, but he got that one up, and Tulowitzki was ready for it.
Now Todd Helton, and he fouls it off. Helton finds himself slumping right now. And Buehrle with a breaking ball for a strike. Helton now 38 out of Knoxville, of course, the great Tennessee Volunteer. 17th year in the big leagues with the Rockies.
One of those rare players that has spent his entire career with the same organization.
Buehrle misses in, and the count's 2-2. Buehrle kick save on that one, and Murphy throws him out. My goodness. Buehrle put the foot out, got a piece of it, and it's a 1-4-3 in the book.
That goes back to his street hockey days as a kid. Every once in a while, in the goalie's position, the kick save. This time it works out. Right to Donnie Murphy. So 1-4-3 on the putout.
And you know Buehrle's thinking to himself about the play he didn't make on Pacheco's ball, the one that just rolled off the mound when it hit him in the foot. That opened the door, and the Rockies have walked in with 4 runs. Ramon Hernandez, veteran catcher that the Rockies have added. Signed a 2-year contract after 3 years with the Cincinnati Reds. It was about time for him to move on because he's kind of spent that chunk of time with the Reds, the Orioles, the Padres, and the Athletics. Ground ball, Hanley has it. On to first in time. Big inning for the Rockies right out of the chute against Mark Buehrle. It's 4-0. Your local Toyota dealer today for great deals on an amazing lineup of Toyota vehicles. Toyota, moving forward. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Well, Mark Buehrle, battered and maybe bruised, took a couple of balls off the foot. He and Randy St. Clair chatting in the dugout. The Rockies getting the 2-run double from Michael Kadire, and then a 2-run homer from Troy Tulowitzki. And so Jamie Moyer at 49 is staked to a 4-0 lead.
Yeah, and he's got that lead with a ball club that's lost 8 of their last 10 games. They've lost 4 in a row, but a nice cushion for any pitcher. And you still, as a hitter, have to be extremely patient and let him come to you.
And right there is a good reason why. 72-mile-an-hour changeup, and Reyes tried to pull it, and it dropped right out of the strike zone.
Yeah, and as we discussed between innings, a 4-run lead makes it even tougher against a guy like Jamie Moyer. Not because of the runs, but because you think you can get him back real quick.
Reyes has 49 at-bats against Moyer. He waited for that one to drop out of the zone. He has a .286 average against Moyer. Those matchups when Moyer was with the Phillies, of course Reyes with the Mets. Reyes pops it up. Helton calls for it and makes the catch. Here's the lineup that will be facing Jamie Moyer tonight. Brian Peterson is in the 2 spot. The Marlins are still without Omar Infante. They hope that he'll return tomorrow. Hanley Ramirez at third. Austin Kearns gets the start in left field. Giancarlo Stanton and Logan Morrison have never faced Moyer. John Buck will do the catching. Donnie Murphy at second, and Buehrle hits ninth. Brian Peterson has not faced Moyer.
Yeah, the interesting matchup in numbers. Moyer, of course, had that tremendous run when he was with the Phillies against the Marlins. He's 13-6 overall. But in 06, he was 3-0. He was 4-0 against the Marlins in 07. He was 4-1 in 08. At one stretch, he was 10-0 against the Marlins. But lately, the last couple of years, just 2-5. The Marlins seemed to be a little more patient and started to wait him out and get some big base hits against him.
And to your point, Moyer, both of his first pitches, strikes. Here's his 1-1.
One of the few breaking balls. He'll use that to left-handers.
Of course, he was dynamite with Carlos Ruiz. They worked together so well in Philadelphia. Ruiz credits Moyer with a lot of his development as a catcher and calling a game. Now he's working with a veteran in Hernandez. Little tapper up the line. Pacheco charges, throws, and safe is Peterson. I'm a bit surprised because you expect Todd Helton to catch just about everything down there at first base. He's had such a great year, great season defensively.
Yeah, and he's a 3-time Gold Glover. Yeah, I'm as surprised as you. This little check swing, Pacheco makes a pretty good play. His throw is low, and Helton can't handle it. A chance it might be a base hit. Bang, bang. Difficult play, and it is a base hit.
Toyota bringing you Foxmo. Pacheco, a guy that was a college infielder, turned into a catcher, now being used in both roles, getting some time at third base. Here's Hanley Ramirez. Now, Hanley has seen plenty of Moyer and has done well against him.
Hanley has been one of the few Marlins hitters over the years that has matched up really well against Moyer.
But you're right, Tommy. When Moyer was acquired by the Phillies and the Marlins were young, Hanley, Ugla, Cody Ross,
06, 07, all those guys young.
Willingham, Jacobs, he ate them alive. 10-0 against him to start out. Hanley's hit in 4 straight.
This is an inning, too, especially since the Rockies put a 4 spot up there, that Ozzie would like to see his team get back. You know, you don't have to score 4, but if you get 1, maybe 2, just to get right back at Moyer.
On to first. Moyer does not have the same type of move to first as Mark Buehrle, but he is pretty good at keeping runners close.
Tough to run when you're 4 down, but you can run against Moyer because he's so slow to the plate. He's not throwing 90-mile-an-hour fastballs.
And this is something that Moyer will do when he gets base runners on. He will slow the game down.
Hey, when you're 49, you got all the time in the world.
Hanley pulls it foul. And the count's 2-2. Here's a look at the Rockies defensively.
So you got some gold out there. Carlos Gonzalez in left. He won a Gold Glove in 2010. Dexter Fowler can cover a lot of ground. Kadire in right. Pacheco, Tulowitzki's won a couple gold. Scutero very solid. Helt and Hernandez behind the plate. Tulowitzki, though, has made 7 errors this year. He made 6 all of last year.
Let's see if Hanley gets some to hit 2-2. He does, and he hits it. Deep left. Gonzalez has room, and he makes the catch. So Hanley hit it to one of the deepest parts of the park. 2 outs, and here comes Austin Kearns.
Yeah, I think right off the bat, Hanley realized he didn't get quite enough of it. Now, see, he knows it right there.
Austin Kearns gets a start in the cleanup spot with the lefty Moyer going. And Kearns actually has good numbers against Moyer, and he's had a nice start for the Fish. Fox Tracks shows
well, I tell you what, if he gets that pitch all night, you might as well just fold up the door and give him the win.
Let's see if he goes out a little further.
And why wouldn't he?
1 ball, 1 strike.
That's when, as a hitter, you don't look at Ted Barrett, the home plate umpire. You kind of look out the mound and you say, Ted, you're better than that. Can't throw you out for that.
A cut fastball that Moyer throws.
That's what turned his career around.
Absolutely. And what a turnaround it was for Moyer at age 34. In 1995, he was 59 and 76. And all of a sudden, he just took off. Since then, he's 210 and 128. Kearns bangs that one into center field. A base hit. Peterson will stop at second. Fowler got there pretty quickly. Coventry Health brings you the scouting report.
Well, there's so many things we could say. 105 wins as a 40-year-old. Master deceptor. He can deceive you as well as anybody. And as we saw in that call he got from Barrett, he loves to expand the strike zone.
Well, this is going to be a fascinating matchup here. You've got Moyer at 49. As Tommy has pointed out, you got to be ultra patient. And here you have Giancarlo Stanton at 22, who can hit it a country mile. Goes after the first pitch, and he fouls it first base side.
In batting practice, generally, Stanton will hit a few balls to right field, and then he'll lock in and pull some balls. Today, it looked like just about every swing, he stayed back and hit everything to right field. Now, I think it was Ozzie throwing BP to him, I'm not sure. But whoever was probably throwing about the same speed as Moyer.
Oh, 1. Stanton, right center. Kadire makes the catch. The Rockies with a 4-0 lead. into the second inning, sponsored by Coventry Healthcare. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton at Marlins Park, where the Rockies have knocked Mark Buehrle around. A 4-0 lead for Colorado. 8-9-1 in the Rockies order. Dexter Fowler is first, and Fowler knocks it into the seats foul. This is one of the Rocky hitters that has been real hot. 5 for his last 10, and those 5 have been a double, 2 triples, a home run, and 5 RBIs, and a single.
Dexter Fowler's a unique player. He has the ability, and I think if you talk to Rockies fans, they would say he hasn't quite yet reached his full potential. He's a switch hitter. He can play center field. He's got a lot of speed. You would expect him as a leadoff man at the top of the order. He has hit there at times. Boy, that's a pretty good pitch. If Moyer's going to get the other one, Buehrle's got to get that one. Show some consistency back there. Same place, only but inside.
Here's the 2-2. That one's out. And it's 3-2. Ted Barrett behind the plate. Marvin Hudson at first. Tim McClellan is at second. Brian Runge is at third. And pitches out. And Fowler walks. A fast man is aboard. And some cat and mouse coming up with Buehrle. The next Outback Steakhouse Military Monday is coming up on the 28th. Marlins and Nationals. And it's a 1:10 start. Military employees, active duty, reserve, National Guard, veterans, and dependents get a free ticket with each military ID at the Marlins Park box office, and that's day of game. Moyer shortening to bunt, and he takes a strike. So to participate in a Military Monday, and tonight is a Military Monday, bring your military ID to the Marlins Park box office, day of game, and with each ID that you have, you'll get a free ticket to the game. Moyer has actually driven in a couple of runs this year. Every time he does something, it's pretty much the oldest guy to ever do it.
Which he did when he had that base hit, drove in a couple of runs.
The trick on that, it was a ground ball to first, and a runner scored all the way from second. Gets the bunt down. Buehrle looked at second and goes to first. So Moyer, a guy that spent an awful long time in the American League, when he got to the Phillies, he always seemed to be able to help himself at the plate when it came to dropping down a bunt.
Well, he's done all those things so well. That's why he's still around. That's why he's won 269 games.
Now the top of the order, and here's Scudero. He bounced to third his first time up. He's one of those guys that has hit Buehrle well. Pickoff move, safe.
Just watching Buehrle still doesn't have that command that he has when he's on the top of his game, just by walking. Fowler was an example of that.
The irony of his last start in Atlanta, he had been at the top of his game most of the season for the Marlins and had very little run support. In Atlanta, he got lots of run support. Marlins scored 8, and he wasn't on the top of his game, but it was good enough to get the win in an 8-4 win. Dexter Fowler's at second. Scudero pulls it foul. Marco Scudero, one of those guys that got to the big leagues with his glove and has stuck around. He's been able to hit a little bit. He's a better offensive player later in his career than he was early in his career. He's 36. And last year he had a career year. He hit .299 with a .358 on base percentage for the Boston Red Sox. Very tough to strike out. Scudero with the Blue Jays for a couple of seasons, 4 years with Oakland.
Saw him a little bit with the Mets.
To left, Kearns. Runners tagging. Here comes Fowler, and Kearns with a strong throw. Fowler wisely heads back to second.
Good job by Austin Kearns not to assume that you make that catch and Fowler's not going anywhere.
Now Jordan Pacheco. Pacheco hit the ball that went off of Buehrle's foot, and as Buehrle moved towards the ball, which was rolling towards first, he tried to scoop it with his glove and flip it to first, and Buehrle whiffed on the ball, and Pacheco got a base hit. And that was the start of a big inning. Carlos Gonzalez with a single, Michael Kadire a 2-run double, and then Tulowitzki hit a changeup over the wall in left field.
Here it is again, the ball that Pacheco hit off that right foot. And he has a lot of time. This is a play that Mark Buehrle makes in his sleep, and he just wasn't able to pick that one and scoop it over to first base. Not as consistent with the changeup tonight. That's the one thing you pick up right away. Last 3 starts for Buehrle, he's been on the money. 2-0, a 2.91 ERA.
Dexter Fowler at second. This game does not have the feel of a Mark Buehrle start, which is usually crisp and quick. Peterson is over, and he makes the catch. Fowler is left in scoring position. 4-0 Rockies. One billed as the matchup between two crafty lefties, and the elder statesman right now has the edge. Jamie Moyer and the Rockies lead Mark Buehrle and the Marlins 4-0. With Moyer looking in at Logan Morrison, John Buck, and Donnie Murphy in the bottom of the second. Morrison's first at bat against Moyer, which is odd because Moyer has faced 9%, almost 9% of all major leaguers in history. How about that? Wrap your mind around that one. Check swing. It's a strike. Morrison went after it. Look at that. With an exclamation point. Ever. I don't think I've ever seen a graphic with an exclamation point, but that one deserves it.
That one deserves it.
Oh, 2 pitch.
Well, the thing about this matchup, we have the all-time winningest active left-hander, 269 wins, and Mark Buehrle is 4th on that list with 169 career wins. In between, Andy Pettitte, CC Sabathia.
Pettitte just reappeared on that list.
Yes.
That is strike 3 called. Morrison maybe thought that was going to break, and it didn't. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, guys, you want to talk exclamation point. I think one in the 40-20 club also deserves one. Here's what we're talking about. Only 4 pitchers in Major League history who have pitched with over 200 victories or in an exclusive club where they won more games from age 40 on than they did from age 20 to 29. Phil Niekro leads the list. He won 318 in his career, way more than he won in his 20s. Jamie Moyer is second on the list. He won only 34 in his 20s. Jack Quinn is on the list, and so is former Marlin Charlie Huff, who won 67 in his 40s and only 34 in his 20s. And by the way, Jack Quinn's a name that came up because when Moyer won earlier this year in April, he snapped the record. Jack Quinn had been the oldest at just over 49 years to ever win a Major League game. Now Moyer is at 49 years, and I think it's 150 days, and he's won 2 this year, becoming the oldest pitcher ever to win a game. And it goes on and on. You could go on for days and days. Stats on Jamie Moyer. Guys,
we just saw Phil Niekro the other day in Cleveland. Not pitch. Saw him making an appearance over the weekend.
Though you know what? He probably could still go out there and throw a few knuckleballs. And that's what's interesting about that list. You had a pair of knuckleballers, and Quinn, if I'm not mistaken, threw a spitball back when it was legal.
Not sure what Jack threw, but it might not have been legal.
It was legal at that point. I think it was grandfathered in. He was one of the last spitballers in that era. Moyer misses down low. Yeah, our producer John Soltis said we may be in 10, 12 years talking about R.A. Dickey in his mid to late 40s, putting up numbers like that. 3-1 to Buck. He's 2 for 10 in his career against Moyer. And he walks. As we promised in Cleveland, our Younger Than Moyer feature, and there's endless fun to be had by the crack staff. Things younger than Jamie Moyer, the U.S. Department of Transportation. That's Tommy's favorite mascot, Dinger, the Rockies dinosaur. Murphy swings and misses.
Yeah, the only thing that bugs me about Dinger is that right toward the end of the game in the 9th inning, he gets right behind home plate and tries to distract the opposing pitcher. You just can't do that if you're a mascot.
See, Tommy's old school when it comes to mascots, too. Into center field. Murphy waits on one. Bottom of the order with some good at-bats. Buck with the walk. Murphy with the single. And now here's Buehrle.
Boy, a well-needed hit for Donnie Murphy, and you hope this gets him going a little bit. But he came into that at-bat 3 for 30. Stayed back well, and if you think up the middle, I also like the way Giancarlo hit the ball. He got under a fly ball, but he hit it to right center to the warning track. So that's what you have to try to think and approach against Moyer.
One of the intriguing things about this matchup is that these guys get to face each other, pitcher to hitter. Buehrle trying to bunt, and he drops it down. And as you pointed out, Ozzie Guillen, when he was throwing batting practice today, and any batting practice pitcher, usually throws low 80s at the most. And so that's right up a pitcher's alley.
Ozzie had to take a little off today.
That's right up a pitcher's alley. I mean, pitchers love getting in there for BP because they'll come out of their shoes at 80-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Buck is the runner at second, Murphy at first, and Helton is very good at first base. That's why Buehrle's trying to force Pacheco to field this ball. And now the count's 0-2.
Buehrle trying to be perfect with that bunt up the third baseline, trying to make the third baseman Pacheco field it. Now with 2 strikes, you can't be that fine.
Breaking ball, struck him out. So Moyer breaks out a curveball. He hasn't thrown a whole lot of those in this game.
No, he's thrown a couple, and both have been to the left-handed hitters. He threw one to Brian Peterson, and it was there for a strike. Fooled Mark Buehrle. There are other teams he's had success against. One of the teams he pitched for, the Orioles, Jamie Moyer's 18-4 in his career against the Orioles with a 2.98 ERA.
You saw when he took the mound just before his first pitch, he kind of looked around. This is the 50th park that he's pitched in, which is a major league record.
I talked to a scout the other day. He said make sure when you watch Moyer that he stays on the rubber. Sometimes he'll inch toward the plate like an inch or two just to get a little more advantage. So you have to make sure he pitches off that rubber.
Cut fastball misses in. And it's 1-1. Reyes popped to first. Marlins have 3 hits. Peterson an infield single. Kearns and Murphy line drives to the outfield. And a couple of warning track shots from Hanley and Stanton. And Reyes following that one all the way till it drew some chalk.
This is also an area where Jose needs to pick things up. I think he swung the bat. You and I both agree. A lot better lately, but against lefties, he's still below 200 with the average.
A strike at 73 miles an hour, and it's 2-2. This is away. 3-2. So everybody gets a head start now with a full count and 2 outs. Buck from second, Murphy from first. Peterson's on deck. Marlins trying to recoup the 4 runs that the Rockies got in the very first inning. The 3-2. That's right down the middle. And Reyes took it at 73 miles an hour. A gorgeous changeup. Marlins come up empty again. Marlins Park, where tonight the Rockies arrive for a 3-game series. The Marlins playing well this month, and the Rockies are not, but you would know it by the score. A 4-0 Colorado lead going into the third, and now Mark Buehrle gets a trio of Rockies that really hurt him in the first inning. Carlos Gonzalez, Michael Kadire, and Troy Tulowitzki. So this is a real test to see if he's got it. Buehrle over, and he covers nicely.
That's the second time we've seen Lomo wander a little bit too far off the bag on a ball that he had no chance on.
And he's still getting his bearings there at first base, even though he's a natural first baseman. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins.
One thing about that, as a first baseman, you can get away with doing that when you have a guy like Buehrle on the mound.
Now Kadire, he drove a ball to deep left in the corner. This is a big ballpark, and it's a long run from where Austin Kearns is to that corner. And Kearns couldn't get there in time. It bounced off the wall for a 2-run double. Stanton's over, and he makes the catch, and Buehrle gets the first 2 guys that hurt him, and now Tulowitzki, who hit a 2-run homer with nobody out and 2 on.
Yeah, I think it's important right here, and it'll determine, I believe, how far Buehrle goes in this game for him to have a good inning against those guys who hurt him.
For Tulowitzki, home run number 5. And that was just his 3rd at bat against Buehrle. You got to think that Tulowitzki's numbers will be coming up. Last year he hit .302. His on-base percentage was .372. 36 doubles, 30 homers, drove in 105. And Buehrle pops him up.
Good job. Good inning.
And so Mark Buehrle gets it together, a 5-pitch inning in the top of the 3rd. Right now, and the bottom of the 3rd, we continue our feature, things that are younger than Moyer. Walmart, the Beatles' first album, Barbados becomes a nation, color TV broadcasts, and the New York City Marathon.
The New York City Marathon fooled me. I thought they'd been running that thing for a long time.
Brian Peterson, Hanley Ramirez, and Austin Kearns. Moyer throws a strike. It's a real interesting dance when you face Moyer because you can't be too aggressive, and yet you can't sit there with the bat on your shoulder.
And it's interesting, the 3 strikeouts all last inning were all looking. So it kind of tells you that, and this is where you can't guess with him. Don't try to guess with a guy who's done this for a long time. And that's where hitters go wrong, I think. You just have to stay back and look. If you guess, he'll outguess you.
A wise scout once told me, when Moyer has you 2-0, that's right where he wants you. Once I asked his then manager and a terrific hitting coach in his day, Lou Piniella, what his approach would be against Moyer. And Piniella paused for a long time and thought about it. And he said, you have to think backwards. Here's the 1-2. And right now, Moyer, when the Marlins are looking for a fastball, he's throwing a changeup, and this a cut fastball that cuts in and catches the plate.
Kind of starts at that back knee and comes right over the plate for a called third strike. I talked to the Rockies pitching coach, and yeah, it was a strike. Bob Apodaca, very well respected. And I said, what have you learned, or what can you convey to a guy like Moyer on the mound? Kind of thought for a while, and he shook his head. He said, you know what, not much, because he is more prepared than I am. And he said he'll stand out there and think what he's going to throw to a lefty. Am I going to cut it? Am I going to change up to him? What he's going to throw to a righty? Every pitch.
And that's the ironic thing about Moyer. When he was 30 and at a crossroads in his career, they've been released. No one offered him a big league job. One organization asked him to become a pitching coach in their organization. And he thought about it. He had an offer to go to AAA with the Detroit Tigers. And he thought he could still get people out. So he turned down the pitching coach job and he went to AAA. Toledo. It was there that he ran into a guy named Buddy Groom. And it was Buddy Groom who taught him the cut fastball. And from that point on, that's when he took off. Once he got that cut fastball in his arsenal, Tommy, it's been lights out. The next 20 years have been pretty good.
It's just been an incredible run. And we haven't even mentioned the fact that he's coming back from Tommy John surgery.
That's right, he missed a year. He was in the studios, and the odd part about this matchup, he was in the studios at ESPN working with Eduardo Perez, the Marlins hitting coach, who, of course, has faced Moyer, and so has his father, Tony Perez.
Eduardo was also a teammate.
Hanley steps out. Count is 1-2. So Moyer has 4 strikeouts, and all of them have been looking. Hanley reaches out and hits a soft pop. Scudero going out, and he can't get it. Hanley around first, headed for second, and he's in there. This park is very similar to Coors Field for a play like that, Tommy. It's a big yard, outfielders are deep, and little pop-ups can be trouble.
We talk about that a lot at Coors, and you're right, it's the same thing here. Because it's deep, outfielders are a little deeper. There's more room between the infielders and the outfielders. So even Fowler, with his speed and center, couldn't get there. I'll tell you what, Scudero went a long way and almost made a tremendous play. But off his glove, and then you credit Hanley Ramirez, good running all the way to get himself a double.
So a double for Hanley, and now Kearns. And Moyer cuts it and runs it under Kearns' hands. Kearns a single back in the first. Giancarlo Stanton is on deck. Marlins have had opportunities. They've had a pair of base runners in both innings. But Moyer's been able to wriggle out after the Rockies staked him to a 4-0 lead with 4 runs in the first inning.
One thing that Austin Kearns has done, aside from his sharp single up the middle, he has been patient so far against Moyer. But here's that situation, the count 2-0.
Liner into left field, a base hit. Hanley should score on that. Kearns is going to make the turn. Gonzalez is a great left fielder, and he gets it to second quickly. And Miami is on the board against the Rockies and Jamie Moyer.
Austin Kearns, everybody ought to watch his approach against Jamie Moyer. Patient, let him come to you. 2-0 pitch, he's patient, gets it over the head of the third baseman Pacheco, and you're right about Carlos Gonzalez. He's really a center fielder playing left field. But Hanley paused to make sure the ball got over Pacheco's head and then came in to score.
You talked about the approach that Giancarlo Stanton had in the first inning, and it goes back to the batting practice he took today.
Now we'll see. Now right there's an example of how Moyer adjusts. He throws him a cut fastball in on the first pitch.
Stanton hitting almost exclusively to right field in batting practice. And now he's working him in, and he gets a couple strikes, and it's 0-2. We talked to Carlos Ruiz about Moyer, and those pitches are off the plate. And Ruiz will say that Moyer helped teach him the art of watching what a hitter's trying to do and then attacking that. And that's exactly what Moyer has done to Stanton here. Count still 0-2.
Moyer does what we used to see Greg Maddux do all the time. Sit out on the bench. Whereas most starting pitchers are in the clubhouse preparing, getting ready. They sit out on the bench during batting practice and watch the other team hit.
Ball and 2 strikes. Miami on the board. 1 out, bottom of the third. Moyer has thrown 56 pitches already. And I know
the Marlins have had base runners every inning.
And I know he doesn't throw 85, but for a 49-year-old man out there, 57 pitches in the bottom of the third, that's a load. Runner goes, pitches in, and the throw's not in time. Kearns picks up a stolen base.
Good read by Kearns. Austin got a nice jump. The other thing he's saying, you know what? Moyer's not going to pay a whole lot of attention to me, and he didn't. That's why he got such a great jump.
3-2 now. That's the second time Stanton has taken a mighty rip, only to have the ball pop off the end of his bat and squirt towards the Rockies dugout. You almost have to dial it down a little bit.
You have to have that same approach.
Kearns in scoring position. 1 out, 3-2. It's down low.
Good job. Make him throw strikes. He did not throw a pitch that was in the zone, in the Fox Track zone, maybe the one that Stanton fouled off.
Now this is an interesting at bat because Logan Morrison not only was called out on strikes, but he was behind in the count 0-2 before he knew what hit him. Morrison has been known as an ultra patient. Those are the first 2 pitches of his last at bat. The third was right down the middle. And so Morrison saw 3 strikes and sat down. Now he's got runners first and second. A strike.
He had that stretch, a bad stretch, 0 for 17. He broke that with that opposite field double in Cleveland yesterday. And remember the big shift that the Indians put on Lomo? It had him all messed up.
Morrison's a great example. If you go up and just figure you're going to take and get ahead in the count, he's seen 4 pitches. He hasn't swung at any of them, and they've all been strikes. To center. Fowler has it. Kearns is tagging on his way to third, and he'll get there. Stanton holds first. Here comes John Buck. Marlins' new 4 for $54 family pack includes 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, and 4 bags of chips, starting at just $54. The next 4 for $54 night is tomorrow. Marlins and Rockies at 7:10. Individual and group tickets available online at marlins.com. Miami Marlins, we've got you covered. Now Buck, he walked in the second inning. Ground ball to third. Pacheco to second. And the inning is over. Miami is on the board, but Moyer holds it to just 1 run. And it's 4-1 Colorado. But the Rockies have a 4-1 lead in the 4th in Miami. Jim Tracy, skipper of the Rockies, our AT&T trivia question. Which of their 5 skippers did not play in the major leagues? Jim Tracy took over for Clint Hurdle.
You had Don Baylor. That's 3.
Todd Helton to left field. Kearns is back there.
By the way, 6 pitches now, and Buehrle's got 4 outs. Remember, he had a 5-pitch inning last inning.
So 1 out here in the 4th. Here comes Ramon Hernandez.
I know you like to keep track of such things. They have, on that ball that Hanley hit, they've ruled it a single. And then with the bobble or whatever, I don't agree with this, but because Hanley was going hard all the way, they've given an error to Scudero, second baseman. That's a tough error.
Scudero, statistically, is the second best fielding second baseman of all time, if you go by fielding percentage.
Here's this single. Now they're giving an error because he fit, but keep in mind he's running away from the play, and he's I don't agree with that.
Lil Tapper out towards Reyes. 2 outs.
Good to see now all of a sudden Mark Buehrle has settled in after that first inning where the Rockies got 4 runs on 4 hits. They've not gotten a hit since. The only base runner since then was a walk to Fowler. So he's settled in nicely.
And here is Dexter Fowler. Buehrle throws a strike, and it's 1-1. There's conflicting reports as to the extent of the damage in Lance Berkman's knee, from torn meniscus to ligament damage. He apparently is going for a second opinion. He's going to Vail, Colorado, and that's the address of Dr. Richard Stedman. Emilio Bonifacio continues to get treatment on that thumb. He's got a soft cast on. Fowler goes to right. Stanton, shy of the track, makes the catch. My goodness, 8 pitches in that inning. 4-1, Colorado. In Miami tonight, 3-game series opening with the Colorado Rockies. Marlins, Rockies, Moyer, Buehrle. And right now, it's the Rockies and Jamie Moyer that lead Mark Buehrle and the Marlins. Donnie Murphy, Buehrle, and then Jose Reyes. There's the changeup that comes in at 72.
The thing about their bullpen, too, is you know the Marlins will get into the Rockies bullpen. They have some hard throwers down there. So quite a contrast.
Murphy stroked a single to center, just his 4th hit of the season. 4 for 31. Hits that one and hits it pretty well. Gonzalez goes back. He makes kind of a nonchalant catch. He is good out there. Rockies manager. They did not play in the big leagues.
You know, the ones we thought of, all the ones we thought of were players. We did not think of Jim Leyland, who when he left South Florida, he went to
Buehrle. It's fair. And Buehrle on his way to second has a double.
You brought up the point last time Buehrle was up, when he was up there trying to sacrifice. Moyer throws BP speed, and that's what pitchers are used to. So you almost feel like you could send a lineup up there with a bunch of pitchers in it. Of course, that's one of the few mistakes that Moyer's made. It was up, and Buehrle with a nice swing. Extra bases for Mark Buehrle.
Toyota Foxmo. That was a ball right there that had Major League Baseball passed what was in front of them for expanded replay. That's a play that could have been reviewed under the proposal, which was not passed, that replay could be expanded for fair or foul balls like that. Because that's not an easy call for an umpire. When it bangs off the wall, did it hit the line? Did it hit the side of the line? Reyes into center field. That's a base hit. Buehrle trucking to third. It gets by Fowler. Here comes Buehrle. He's going to score. And the Rockies have made a couple of errors behind Moyer. It's 4-2.
Better approaches. The Marlins now have 7 hits off Moyer. No reason for Fowler to come in on that ball that way because Buehrle was the runner. Buehrle's going to stop at third. Now he looks, he picks up Fowler, sees where the ball went, and comes in to score.
And now you've got, look at Buehrle. He's talking about the double. He's had the best approach of the night. He and Kearns. And here's Peterson with Reyes at first, and Moyer will chase him back.
Yeah, the Marlins have out-hit the Rockies 7-4.
Moyer over again. So Buehrle doubles and then comes rolling home. A double Lovis there.
Yeah.
Bonifacio. Now, and the funny thing, I mean, if you're in the dugout and you're Logan Morrison and you're 0 for 2 against Moyer, and here comes Buehrle, who just ripped a double and scored a run.
Now here comes Moyer slowing the pace down again. It's almost like in the NBA, you get a nice run and all of a sudden there's a TV timeout or the other team calls a timeout just to try to stop the run.
So he's like before the shot clock, the Dean Smith of pitchers.
Trying to slow it down with 3 moves over to first.
Reyes inching away. He's almost tempting Moyer to show him a snap throw, which is a step off and a snap throw over.
I don't know if that's advisable after Tommy John surgery.
I don't know that was on the rehab protocol. Peterson up there with the count 0-1. Moyer with a quick move to the plate. Peterson probably thought to himself, if I could have done it again, I'd hang in there and get hit by it.
You know what? A lot of times fans will say that. They'll say, well, geez, 78 miles an hour, just let that thing hit you. But you don't think that it's so fast. It's instincts. It's reactions. And your reaction is to get out of the way.
Ball hurts. Get body out of way. See, Reyes just daring him to throw over.
Unless you were Don Baylor, Craig Biggio, Ron Hunt. You were guys like that who got hit all the time.
Ball magnets. Travis Hafner, a guy.
And he's been hit over 80 times.
The Indians franchise record. So it's 2-1 to Peterson, and at bat that has stretched almost seemingly 5 minutes now. Reyes still dancing. And Peterson flips a foul ball out of play. And the thing about Moyer, too, when he went to spring training, this wasn't a publicity stunt for the Rockies trying to generate some ticket sales. They needed starting pitching, and Moyer flat out won the job.
Yeah, he wasn't a lock to win a spot in the rotation.
He wasn't guaranteed anything. And he's been one of their most consistent starters. And that's, if you look at the Rockies on paper and say, what's wrong with the Rockies? They've gone through stretches where they'll pitch and can't hit. They'll hit and can't pitch. Moyer's up to 75 pitches now.
Yeah, the Marlins will see Juan Nicasio tomorrow night. He's got good stuff.
See, that's one of the words in baseball that always puzzles me, is the word stuff.
Yeah, Moyer has good stuff.
Moyer has good stuff. You don't win 269 games and not have good stuff. That cut fastball, that changeup, to me, that qualifies as stuff as well. I mean, I know a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, a sharp slider, a great split. And Peterson, that's the cut fastball. For the left-handed hitter, he'll start it right at the right hip.
Which, you know, it's amazing to me that all the video that is allowed to players, that players look at, as a left-handed hitter, when you were watching video of Moyer, you had to see that. You had to know that he'll throw that cut fastball.
Not sure what that discussion was about, Moyer and Tim McClellan. It may have been that Peterson was leaning out over the plate, which he was, like he was trying to get hit. Here's Hanley now. Big swing and a miss. So what, 5 strikeouts, all of them looking?
All of them looking. I was going to say it might be a season high, but he had 7 against the Dodgers earlier this month.
Nissan leaders of the game, active career leaders in strikeouts. He has more strikeouts than Pettit, more than Sabathia. He is 34th all-time in wins, 269.
Pettit, in his second start since returning to the Yankees, had a nice outing the other day against Cincinnati, 8 shutout innings.
He is 16th all-time in career starts. This is number 637. Tom Seaver is 15 starts ahead of him. I don't know if any player in Major League history has raised as much money for charity as Moyer. His foundation that he started is well into the mid 20 million, like $25–26 million raised. His wife Karen is the daughter of Digger Phelps, former Notre Dame coach. And of course, just like his career, they didn't start that foundation till he was about in his early 30s.
Surprised that Reyes at this point hasn't taken off.
Hanley waiting on a 2-2, and now he calls timeout. Ted Barrett. And now there's a little cat and mouse going on between Hanley and Moyer.
Hanley's saying, if you're going to take all that amount of time, I can take a little time.
Moyer comes in 3-2. First artificial heart transplant. Dr. Robert Jarvik, 1969. Reyes on the move, and Hanley waits him out.
Now you get the one man up to bat who's had the best approach of the night. 2 base hits, Austin Kearns.
So here's that situation that you talked about. Bob Apodaca coming to the mound, and Tim Tracy calling down to the bullpen because Moyer, and the Marlins have just 2 runs, but they've extended Moyer in every inning. He's at 82 pitches right now with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th.
Marlins through the first 3 innings have stranded 6 runners.
You know, another thing that is younger than Moyer, the pitch count. Which wasn't really in vogue back in the 60s or even the 70s.
Look at Josh Renicky getting loose.
Kearns 2 for 2 with an RBI. Great speed out there, too.
See, he's been able to lay off the stuff that's just out of the zone.
But he's also been aggressive enough that when Moyer comes across the plate, Kearns has jumped on him. Runners go. The throw behind second. Hanley's in there. And a double steal.
Sharp play by the veteran catcher Ramon Hernandez. He realized Reyes got a great jump, so he was trying to get the back end runner, but Hanley got a pretty good jump too.
As you saw from the replay, it was a called strike. Counts 1-1 on Kearns. The tying runs in scoring position. And Moyer keeps cutting that fastball under Kearns' hands. Kearns in his career now 9 for 21 against the lefty from Sellersville, Pennsylvania. 2-1 coming. That's in.
You almost get the feeling that Moyer might rather pitch to Stanton the way he's had him than to Kearns, because of the way Kearns has swung the bat. And for a guy like Moyer, it doesn't mean anything to him to put another runner on and load the bases. Hard guy to have the green light on too, because what you get is a changeup off the plate.
Well, here's the matchup. It's Stanton against Moyer. The 22-year-old slugger against the 49-year-old left-handed starter.
And right now, Giancarlo has to think like he thought in BP. Up the middle. Don't hit one of those squibbers off the end of the bat. We've seen that a couple of times. He squibbed foul.
Down low.
And be patient.
Reyes. Hanley Ramirez. Austin Kearns. Jim Tracy. The 1-0.
Ever since that first at bat, he's thrown more cutters in to Giancarlo.
Two and one.
.90 pitches already for Moyer.
Now the question is, does Stanton get something to hit 2-1? You know what?
The bottom line, he never gives you anything to hit.
And that pitch was well outside the zone, and Stanton, look at where it was, pitch number 4.
Season high 4 walks for Moyer. Who would tell you this hasn't been his best stuff out there?
Well, Ozzie again should know he faced him. He managed against him.
Ozzie faced him, yeah.
2-2. Another foul ball off his foot.
See, he has so many choices. That was a breaking ball. He can go cutter in, or he can go backdoor cutter. Start it off the plate and try to catch that outside corner with the cutter.
This is great theater, though. Bags loaded. Stanton against Moyer. 2-2 count.
And again, if you look at box tracks, nothing is there except for pitch 5. That's it.
Crowd coming to their feet. Bags loaded. The 3-2 to Stanton. Driven to left. Deep. Gone! Grand slam! He waited out the veteran and hits it out of here.
Oh, man, she loves it. The 22-year-old outweighted the 49-year-old. That was theater.
With the crowd on their feet and the bags loaded, Giancarlo Stanton, a 3-2 pitch, and he absolutely crushed it. The only question was, would it stay fair?
Well, I think the crowd wants it to come on tip his hand. I think it hits the scoreboard up there. Oh, wow.
It did.
Wow.
Here comes Stanton for a curtain call.
There it is. There's the curtain call. That away, Giancarlo.
He's knocked out, actually, a panel on the scoreboard. Giancarlo Stanton has broken a brand new scoreboard. It's 1-1. But there's no question as to where it landed now.
4th career grand slam. The guys in the dugout are saying, Giancarlo, you broke the scoreboard.
If he was Roy Hobbs, it would have exploded. He may be the next best thing. 6-4 Miami. And right now, there's a question as to what the count is. Ted Barrett and Logan Morrison having the discussion. Moyer walking around behind the mound. The count is actually 2-2. Both the scoreboard in the ballpark and now our scoreboard has it right. It's 2-2. Two pitch. Moyer thought he had a strike 3. And he's probably steamed at the 2-2 pitch that was borderline against Stanton. Count now 3-2. Morrison into right field. That's a base hit. And that's it for Moyer. Here comes Jim Tracy.
Well, we told you the last couple of years with the Phillies, the Marlins got to Moyer. He was just 2-3 against them in 09, 0-2 and 10. They got to him tonight, but it took to the 4th inning to do it.
Giancarlo Stanton in grand style. And it's 6-4 Miami. Toyota brings you Fox Smoke.
The bottom line is that Stanton was patient and got it to that point in the count.
Well, he knew it was gone. The only question was if it got around the pole, and it did. And there is Moyer.
He's given up, Rich, a lot of home runs. Close to 520. I'll tell you what, not many have been hit that hard, I guarantee.
So Morrison's at first. And here is Renicky, the right-hander out of the Rockies pen. His breaking ball misses outside to John Buck.
Renicky, one of those players converted from an outfielder. Got kind of a short arm delivery, compact and fastball and curveball.
Renicky lives in Sarasota. He was born in Baltimore. Big league time with the Reds, the Blue Jays, and this is his second season in the Rockies organization.
I think it's amazing that Giancarlo Stanton already has 4 career grand slams. 22 years old. Part of that is because, as we saw, Moyer would rather have pitched to him than to Kearns. That may change over the next few years, but just a great at bat by both those guys sitting together, Kearns and then Stanton.
This is quite a different dimension now, with a right-hander that brings it in the mid-90s compared to the lefty Moyer, who was living in the 70s. As we've already established, since he was born in the early 60s. 2-2. Renicky started towards the dugout. Counts 3-2. Donnie Murphy on deck. It's out. Buck is aboard. And now the 10th man to come to the plate was the first man to start the inning, and it's Donnie Murphy. What a no to Murphy. 6-4. Marlins have knocked Moyer out of the game. Stanton has knocked lights out of the scoreboard with a dramatic grand slam. Just that whole at bat with the bags loaded and Moyer picking at the corners. Stanton fighting a few pitches off, fouling pitches off. Moyer on the 2-2 didn't get the call. He had received a few calls earlier in the game that were just off the plate. This one he didn't get. That probably caught some of the plate. And then Stanton got a hold of one. And it's one of those home runs that if the scoreboard wasn't there,
would still be traveling.
It may have gone through one of those windows out there in left field.
Out there near the east entrance. Maybe rolling toward downtown Miami right about now.
Remember when they built this ballpark and about a year ago, the Marlins came and took batting practice? All the construction workers.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Stanton hit a ball that landed probably where the Budweiser balcony is and bounced out of the park. If he had hit that ball on that day, it would have gone clean out of the park. Two. Hernandez clipped by that foul ball.
Long wait for Mark Buehrle. Remember, Buehrle has really settled in with his pitching, and he got things going with a double, a one-out double in this inning.
2-2.
Buehrle's retired 11 of the last 12 he's faced.
And that pitch with Fox Tracks was in the strike zone. I think Murphy got a break.
I'll tell you what, it's been an inconsistent night for Ted Barrett back there.
Hernandez out to talk to Josh Rennick. 438 feet the distance on the Stanton home run. And it's one of those shots that if it doesn't hit the scoreboard, it probably goes a lot further than 438.
Yeah, because you have this 401 marker at the back wall of those stands there in left field, and then the ball landed up in here. But you're right, the trajectory of it was still going up, I think.
Runners on the move, 3-2 coming, and Murphy fouls it off his foot. You get a sense, though, even though it was a dramatic grand slam and the Marlins have taken the lead, you get a sense that this game is far from over. Bags are loaded, and this will be a very different look for Buehrle now. Bob Apodaca on his way out. Rennick has been the workhorse out of the pen. He leads the Rockies in bullpen innings, 22. That's 7th in the National League. He's pitched well this year,
and you have to see how they work it, because he's due up first. So does Tracy keep him in, let him hit, and keep him in to get a couple more innings, or does he go to his bench and go to the bullpen again? One of the decisions you have to deal with where we just came from, the American League.
Yeah, as Ozzie will say, you just kind of put it on cruise control in the American League when it comes to making these choices. So here's Buehrle. And he goes after the first pitch, and he hits it to left center. Fowler is over, and he makes the catch. Well, Miami chases Jamie Moyer, Giancarlo Stanton with a grand slam, and now a 6-4 lead heading to the 5th.
he's hoping for a Kings-Rangers final. We'll have more on that on Marlins Live tomorrow. Guys?
Yeah, Craig, he was a fan back when Gretzky was there, the Luke Robitaille era, Yari Curry, all those guys.
And Mark Buehrle is a big hockey fan. Heath Bell and Mark both played a lot of either street or, in Heath Bell's case, told me he played a little roller hockey as a youngster in Southern California, where they have actually a lot of rinks, and it's a pretty popular sport.
All right, thank you, Craig. And now Mark Buehrle to the mound, our Subway 5th inning. It's 6-4. Marlins on top of the Rockies.
I think real interesting inning for Mark Buehrle, who had all that time, had a couple of ABs, and we now see the decision that Jim Tracy is making. He's going to pinch hit Eric Young Jr. So that means he'll go to his bullpen again. The more I think about Stanton's home run, it had a shot to get into Taste of Miami too down there.
You're right. And this is Eric Young Jr. Of course, Eric Young Sr., the all-time stolen base leader in Rockies history, and is a coach in the National League West. He's on Kirk Gibson's coaching staff at Arizona.
So he gets to see a few games. EY Jr., EY2, I guess you could.
And this is computer age.
Give him that one.
2.0.
Yeah, 2.0. Second baseman also, but he played center field, played a little center field as well. Played yesterday for the Rockies.
Also played football. He had some scholarship offers to play football in college. Ended up playing baseball in Arizona, Chandler, Arizona. He's a New Jersey guy. Strike 3 called. Buehrle strikes out Eric Young. Now Jim Tracy not real pleased at the strike zone. Time for the Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof Stats. Jose Reyes, Marlins leader in home games, getting on base. The .411 clip. Just as the Marlins count on Reyes, you can count on Just for Men Auto Stop for foolproof results. That marked Buehrle's first strikeout. Saw Adam Ottavino in the bullpen for the Rockies. This is Marco Scutaro.
Mark Buehrle has retired 12 of 13 since the Tulowitzki home run in the first inning.
Boy, what a messy first inning it was.
Yeah, and that shows you the type of veteran he is, how he's able to work his way through that. A lot of younger pitchers, they have an inning like that, they can't get it back together. And he's been able to get it back together. Look at the pitch count. 5 in the third inning, 8 in the fourth inning.
His 11th pitch here in the 5th. Scutaro goes down and sends it out to Austin Kearns, who makes the catch. 2 down here in the 5th. And up comes Jordan Pacheco. We talked about the injury news. Lance Berkman, a serious knee injury, and it could cost him the season for the Cardinals. The Red Sox dealt a blow, a former Marlin injured. Cody Ross broke a bone in his foot.
Oh, that's too bad. Cody was having a good year, too, for the Sox.
Also, the Rangers placing Neftali Feliz on the 15-day disabled list with right elbow inflammation.
The thing about Berkman's injury, I read some quotes of his. He might have been made off the cuff, and knowing that things aren't looking good, he was thinking about retirement if it was a real serious knee injury.
Ball and a strike to Jordan Pacheco. It's interesting how players make position changes in feeling that's their best avenue to get to the big leagues. Pacheco was a middle infielder at New Mexico, converted to a catcher his first year into the minor leagues. And now that he's reached the big leagues, they've put him out at third base.
It's a great position to be in. if you can swing the bat a little bit, you're going to always have a roster spot, because that team will always say he gives us that third catcher, or he can play here a little bit.
The Brandon Inge factor. And if he was a middle infielder, you know he's got pretty good hands, but if they asked him to become a catcher, that gives you a hint that maybe he didn't have the foot speed or the quickness to play up the middle. But third base takes a different skill set.
And the bottom line, he can hit a career 300 hitter in the minor leagues.
With a changeup, Buehrle gets a pop-up, Morrison charging, and it's over the rail. You know, one of the things with Morrison at first base is you eliminate probably 75% of the wall that he can run into, but there's still that railing at first and down foul territory that he'll have to deal with.
Because you know Lomo is going to go all out for pop flies.
That one is up into the seats and out of play. This doesn't feel like a Buehrle start in one sense. I mean, it's 9 o'clock and it's the top of the 5th inning. What the heck's going on here?
This is going to hurt his average game time, which is usually amongst the best.
Out to Reyes, gathers it in, fires to first. 1, 2, 3 for Buehrle in the 5th. And so Buehrle now has retired 12 in a row. As we go to the bottom of the 5th, we remind you that Fox Sports Game Connect is the ultimate online experience for fans. Log on to take part in the most interactive forum during Marlins games. Stats, trends, exclusive analysis, and live Twitter feeds. Plus, you can even share your thoughts with the game broadcast. Fox Sports Game Connect, now available on foxsportsflorida.com.
There's good news. I think they repaired the scoreboard. Nothing fell down on these fans here, but they have some problems with 438 feet, they said?
438 is what they said.
What did you say?
500, 475, 500.
How was the ball coming in when you saw it over your head?
It's like a laser line drive. My girlfriend was sitting here. She went to get something to eat right now, and she just started screaming, like cuddling under me. I'm like, it's okay. And just bounced off of there, like boom, and fell. It was so hard.
Yeah, if that screen wasn't there, it was going to hit that window, and those windows were going to get tested. That thing was going up. It was a line shot. I was here for Mother's Day, and the Mother's Day blast was nothing compared to that home run. That thing was.
Were you scared like his girlfriend?
Nah.
That's good to hear. All right, this guy here, get up, John. John caught the ball where you were down over there when you got it?
Yeah, I was in the second row from the bottom.
Took a pretty good jump down. Did you have to fight some people? Did you catch it on the fly?
Well, it landed in the seat right next to me, and first I buried my hand on top of it, and I couldn't believe, I seen the home run coming. I knew it was way over my head, and it just happened to land in the seat right next to me.
All right, and they're enjoying it here. And if it was on a line like they said, that's 30 feet high, and this is 401, so you got to extrapolate that out, you would think, a little bit further. But we always have difference of opinions with the footmark. They're having fun out here, guys. Let's go back to Rich and Tommy.
All right, thank you, Craig. It's that home run, the distance was incredible, the moment was incredible, just the hole at bat, the Marlins trying to get to Moyer, waiting Moyer out, the 22-year-old against the 49-year-old, and another dramatic grand slam, the 4th in Giancarlo Stanton's young career.
And we will get to see Adam Ottavino. Saw him warming up.
We saw Ramon Hernandez turn and actually ask Ted Barrett. You rarely see that, a catcher turn to ask an umpire on that last pitch.
Ottavino just recently called up. Adam Ottavino out of New York.
First round pick of the St. Louis Cardinals back in 2006. Whoa. Joe Espada nearly took that one. Top of the order, Reyes, Brian Peterson, and then Hanley Ramirez. Hooked down the right field line and foul.
Nice little rivalry game taking place up in Philadelphia tonight. The Nationals and the Phillies. I think this is their first meeting after the Cole Hamels, Bryce Harper plunking. Gio Gonzalez threw 6 innings. He's out of the game, but 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, had 9 strikeouts. He's turned it over to the bullpen.
It's I think an interesting test for the Phillies, who, with a nice push, have put their record at 500. They've been over 500, but just briefly a couple of times.
The Nationals, by the way, lead that game 2-0.
Nationals 24-17. The Phillies 21-21. Bottom of the 7th, 2-0 Nationals. That one is going to stay fair. Reyes went up and got another breaking ball. And this might be a little more comfortable spot for Reyes to run than it was with Moyer on the mound.
Reyes now 2 for 4, but 2 for his last 2. A couple of real good approaches. They had that base hit off Moyer, and then a good swing there, left-handed, off Otavio.
Peterson twice was caught looking against Moyer. Moyer had 5 strikeouts, walked 4, charged with all 6 runs, and gave up 9 hits.
Peterson got the infield base hit, did get a hit off Moyer in the first inning.
Takes a strike and it's 0-1. Of course, Peterson's value now skyrockets with Emilio Bonifacio on the disabled list for the next couple of weeks. Peterson, a center fielder. He can play all 3 outfield spots, but he has the speed and the skills to play center. And he's had very good at bats in the Cleveland series. He was patient, hit the ball well. He's 1 for 3 in this one. The 1-1 misses inside, and it's 2-1.
I think if you're Brian Peterson, you'll start to get a little more comfortable as the reps continue, get some more at bats. He was hitting over 300 in AAA.
You think you'll see Chris Coghlan get some starts on this homestand against righties out in left field. Coghlan had an 8-game hit streak at AAA when he was called up. He may get some at-bats in this ball game. We're only halfway through. Peterson dumps that one down the left field line, and it's foul. Nice catch. We'd like to apologize for the technical difficulties. Some transmission issues. Tommy and I have no idea what that means, but we apologize for them.
We apologize. They tell us to make that comment, but hopefully things get better.
Let's see, when things go wrong, they push us out on stage and say, all right, apologize to the good people out there. But our engineers are working feverishly to fix the problem. The crack staff is sitting in the truck with their feet up on the...
Are they working feverishly, or are they working at a feverish pitch?
Reyes away from first, and he's running on the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Hernandez throw, and he is safe. That was close to batter's interference. Hernandez now talking with Ted Barrett. And I think Hernandez is claiming that the backswing of Peterson may have clipped him in the arm. Let's take a look.
We've seen this called a couple of times. It did. It caught him on the wrist of his gloved hand, but no call. He still made a really strong throw, and I think Reyes beat it all the way anyway. Second stolen base for Jose tonight. Tavio makes his home up in Jupiter.
That one fouled back out of play.
And if I get Ottavino correctly, I will have him up in Jupiter. Out of high school in Brooklyn.
Tommy is having transmission
difficulties with Adam Ottavino.
There you go. There's Reyes. That's all right. That's only $1.
Yeah, that's all. See, I've done really well with Giancarlo tonight.
Yeah, you have. And we've all done it this year. I've botched the Hanley Reyes thing a few times. There's been a few mics that have slipped out. I haven't dropped a Florida yet.
I think we've been good on that one. Yeah, I think that's more than $1. That's a call from the owner.
It's the 0-1 to Hanley. And it's outside. And it's 1-1. 6-4. Miami on top. Giancarlo Stanton with a grand slam off of Jamie Moyer. Up and in. As Tommy pointed out, this is a Rockies team that, though they've lost 4 straight, their game yesterday they started to hit, and they came out of the chute with 4 runs in the first inning here.
It always worries you about a club that you know is a little better than they're playing.
Toyota trend for the night.
And they have a good man behind the helm, Jim Tracy. Look at the runs per game. ERA is high, near 6 in the month of May.
I know they had a good April, but I think the 11-1 mark was off. That'll be $1 from the truck. Here's the 3-1. And Hanley walks. So Kearns is coming up. Bob Apodaca has set a modern-day record for trips to the mound before the 6th inning.
Bob Apodaca in his 10th year as the Rockies pitching coach. Faced Bob Apodaca a number of times when he was with the Mets.
You know, there's just a quick brush onto the Twitter account, and there are a few that have suggested that it was Giancarlo's home run that broke up the TV feed.
Right, I totally understand that. Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Of course, tomorrow night we've got an email and a Twitter Tuesday. Kearns now 2 for 2 with a walk. His first non-Moyer at bat of the game.
Cincinnati leading Atlanta 4-1 in the 7th inning.
Kearns has his average up to 333. Now with 8 RBIs, 3 homers, 4 doubles.
You know, he made the club because he had a terrific spring early in the year. Didn't get a whole lot of starts. But once he got in there, some pinch hit appearances, he's done a good job in that department. He's 3 for 8 as a pinch hitter. He's gotten himself a lot of key hits.
And that's what you worry about with a guy that goes from getting regular at-bats in the spring to not a whole lot. And he knocks one into left field, a base hit. Holding at third is Reyes. Carlos Gonzalez got to it quickly and has a cannon for an arm. Plus, you've got that guy named Stanton coming up with the bases loaded.
Hanging slider, and Kearns is hot. 3 for 3 tonight. And you're right. Stanton coming up.
So is the crowd. The grand slam in the fourth. He walked in the third. A warning track shot to right center in the first. First AB against Ottavino. Oh and 1.
Boy, good live fastball there. Slider fastball. First 2 pitches and both in the strike zone.
Reyes, Hanley, and Kearns. There's 1 out. Ottavino. Wow. Trying to protect the plate. And Stanton lines it foul. This game, not an abrupt U-turn. It took a while. The Marlins waiting out the 49-year-old Jamie Moyer. And Stanton had the deciding blow, the 0-2. And this one Hernandez holds on to. Ottavino strikes out Giancarlo Stanton. And up comes Morrison with 2 outs.
Well, that battle won by Ottavino was some good stuff.
Morrison 1 for 3.
Be a good trivia question. Have the Marlins ever had 2 different players hit grand slams in the same game?
Popped up. Pacheco. Oh, wow. That one glanced off his glove, hit that security guard in the back. With the bases loaded in his career, very good, but without a grand slam. Marlins have him loaded again here in the bottom of the 5th. Oh and 2. Ozzie Guillen and the Marlins 14-5 in May. A major league best. 0-2. It's out. No swing.
Well, it's always a great feeling as a hitter. You're not quite sure. Even sometimes if you think you didn't swing, it's called. You get one more chance.
Morrison had a big hit in Cleveland yesterday. The RBI double in the 8th inning as the Marlins put that one away. 1-2 coming. Back foot breaking ball. And he doesn't offer. Now it's 2-2. Rockies have not employed the shift that the Indians did against Morrison. Check swing, and they'll say he went. Morrison asking if Ted Barrett can at least ask for help. And Barrett doesn't have to. Another look at it from a side view, actually from center field.
I think as I looked at the third base umpire, Brian Runge, he made eye contact with Barrett and nodded as if to say yes. So that's probably why Barrett didn't go down there and ask.
Miami Marlins Béisbol en español es presentado en SAP por Toyota.
We're joined now by Cookie Rojas and Tony Perez. Now, Tony, you faced Jamie Moyer. Cookie, you didn't face Moyer, though, right?
No, I was too young. You know, Tony was younger than I was.
Yeah. Well, I did play with Jamie. Yeah, I did.
Hey, Tony, I know both of you guys had to appreciate the at-bat that Stanton had, the way he was patient, watching Kearns, who's been very patient tonight, and then the at-bat Stanton had with the bases loaded.
Well, I think number one on Kearns is that he hits the ball up the middle. You know, he was more patient. He was doing that in batting practice. And Danny just mentioned that Stanton, with bases loaded, has hit 2 home runs, 11 RBI.
Yeah, he got 11 RBI. I thought he's 3 for 3 with 11 RBI with the bases loaded.
You know, what is great, too, guys, is the fact that Buehrle, you know, when they scored those 4 runs in the first inning, he closed the door and gave a chance to our ball club to come back, and I think that deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah, he's shown why he's such a good pitcher and why he's won 164 games, because he has been able to come back and put it together.
Absolutely, and I think that our pitching in general has been outstanding, Tommy. I think that during the whole year, if it would have just hit a little bit like we hit tonight, I think this club will be in first place.
Well, Buehrle goes back to work. Guys, thanks for the visit. Have a good ride the rest of the way.
Good to talk to you guys.
Okay, take care.
Carlos Gonzalez, Michael Kadire, and Troy Tulowitzki. Boy, it must feel like for that trio that it's been an hour and a half since they were at the plate last. And it probably has been. They last came to the plate in the 3rd inning. The Rockies had a 4-0 lead at that point. The Marlins are up now 6-4. Our Cholula Hot Sauce Spotlight. Bobby Abreu, the guy that he saw in a Winter League game. That's a pretty good guy to model your game after.
Oh, yeah. And Abreu's still going strong, getting a little playing time now with the Dodgers, with Matt Kemp on the disabled list.
Gonzalez singled back in that 1st inning. Buehrle with a changeup.
I know there's a lot that goes into it, but when Abreu was let go by the Angels, I always thought he would have been a great fit here.
Buehrle shaking his head. There's the Fox track. Pitch 4 was called the ball, and pitch 5 a ball as well. And as you noted, it's been an uneven night on both sides for both Moyer and Buehrle.
It has been.
Now Kadire. Buehrle goes over to first. Gonzalez, a good base stealer. He swipes 6.
Yeah, and this is where you have to be careful, Rich, because all of a sudden with a man on base, the tying run comes to the plate. These guys, we know, have some pop in the lineup.
And that was the point I made in the 4th was Stanton had slayed the dragon, so to speak, in Moyer, and everybody was going nuts, and it felt like, now the Marlins were in control, but it's still 6-4, and now it's the 6th. 1-1. Up the middle. Reyes has it. Flips. Barehand. Murphy. Turn. Oh, wow. That almost was a spectacular double play.
It was outstanding that Reyes was able to get to it and then somehow flip it out of his glove to Murphy. Watch this flip. This ball was hit sharply out of the glove, and then Murph barehands it around the ankles and turns and makes a great throw to first. Just not quite in time to get Cuddyer.
Look at how
the
low.
throw.
Oh, he short hopped.
He short hopped it. That's even more remarkable. And almost turned the double play. Wow.
Well, try it again. Uses the glove this time. Buehrle starts a 1-4-3 double play, and the Rockies are done in the 6th.
Boy, it's amazing watching Buehrle. We saw him get a double, helped himself. That set up that big inning. We see him field that ball, start the double play. We saw him kick save a ball out toward Murphy earlier in the game. He just does everything to help himself win a game.
And Murphy, a quick turn, and that's it for the Rockies in the 6th. The next Saturday Spectacular is coming up on the 26th, and it's an interesting start time. Please make a note of this while you watch the Shark run. The Giants and the Marlins will play at 4:10 on the 26th, which is Saturday. Arrive early for an autograph session with a player after the game. Stay for a plaza party with games, bounce houses, rides, music, octopus, octopi, prizes, and fun for the entire family. For tickets, go to marlins.com. See, that's, to me, Tommy, that's a distinct disadvantage for the octopus. Having to carry the 8 arms and a bigger costume. It's not surprising that his numbers have been down this year.
Yeah, his numbers are down. He's slowed up a little bit. He's all over the place. You know, when they have you run, you have to use those arms, and his arms are flapping all over the place. He doesn't have a chance.
Now, Mark Buehrle, after giving up the 4 runs in the first inning, in a nice groove. And the Marlins here. See, look, I mean, you can see the octopus is listing to his left. Look, he's trying to get a little something with the energy team going there.
Yeah, the Sharks got it all going right there. He's built for speed. I think the Crab just looked frustrated.
Well, wouldn't you be?
Well, he found out he's headed over to Joe's after the game.
Wouldn't you be if you had no commercials to run because of technical issues?
It's like commercial-free baseball.
It is. It's now. We will have a pledge drive here in the 8th inning, but you will get that nice Sonny and Cher CD set, soft hits of the 70s. John Buck swings and misses, and it's 0-1. Donnie Murphy, and then Buehrle.
And the new pitchers, Matt Belisle.
Marlins have seen Josh Renicky, Adam Ottavino, and now Belisle. Tyler Colvin, former Cub, has been spotted in right field.
So you could probably put Colvin in the number 9 spot, put Belisle up there in Cuddier's spot.
Strike 3. That one surprised Buck, and I think it surprised Ramon Hernandez. Watch Hernandez.
Oh, he got crossed up.
But he got there just in time to frame it nicely and got the call. Now Murphy was 1 for 3. (6-4) Miami on top. That's been the score since Giancarlo Stanton busted up the scoreboard and left. They've since repaired the scoreboard, shining brightly.
You know, trust me, right now he's thinking about his last AB, though, striking out with bases loaded. That's how hitters and players think. Good hard slider. Good fastballs and sliders. Buehrle, a veteran.
Inside corner, and Buehrle gets Buck and Murphy. Now here comes Buehrle.
The other thing we haven't touched on too much, Rich, in the Marlins win yesterday in Cleveland and an opportunity to win this game here tonight, they always feel much better when you're missing a few pieces. We had the shot of Emilio Bonifacio on the disabled list. Omar Infante back in Venezuela because of a death in the family. Hopes to be back Tuesday or Wednesday. And then with the shifting around, with Gabby having been sent to the minor leagues, and I'll give Gabby Sanchez credit. He found out after the game Saturday. He played in New Orleans' game Sunday and was 1 for 3 with a double and 2 RBIs.
Swing and a miss, and Buehrle strikes out Buehrle. That is admirable because player has a certain amount of time to report. He didn't have to go down right away and play the next day.
No, and I think from what he was told, he's down there to work on some things, and hopefully he'll be back in 10 days to 2 weeks.
Quick inning for Buehrle. He strikes out the side. Let's check in with Craig Minervini.
All right, this is one of the great spots to watch the game, just underneath the Bud Bar here. And it's for groups, too. Now, Martha did the group arrangement. Now, how much was this deal? About $50 a head?
Yes, $50 a head.
And you get $25 back, is that right?
Concession stands.
25 back, and the name of the group is called Granite Transformations. They're out of Miramar. And, well, tell me how the group is enjoying things.
Oh, it's amazing. This is a great ballpark. We love coming here. We're so excited we're able to make it here. It's an awesome night tonight.
You got a great view, too, of the home run over there. Were you watching?
We were definitely watching. Everybody here was up in these chairs.
Let's talk to the rest of this group here. Now, did you guys, we're on here. Did you see the home run, and were you afraid it was going to come over in your direction?
I wasn't afraid. I was hoping that I would catch it, but, you know, next time.
All right, what about the view for people watching? Maybe you want to bring their group out here. What do you think about this opportunity?
Oh, this is a fantastic view. I think it's the best seat in the house. Way better than over there in the front.
Okay. All right, so that's not bad. A little over $50 a person, and they get $25 back for food, and you get to watch the game, and you're sitting just above the Clevelander here at the ballpark. Guys, back to you.
Budweiser bow tie balcony there in left field. JM Lexus resets the ball game for those of you that have just dropped in. What a wild game this has been. The Rockies came out and got 4 runs against Mark Buehrle. Troy Tulowitzki had a 2-run homer. Michael Kadire a 2-run double. The Marlins against Jamie Moyer frustrated the first 2 innings, scratched out a run in the third, and then a dramatic bases loaded 2-out grand slam by Giancarlo Stanton. And that's how we've arrived here, with Buehrle pitching to Todd Helton in the top of the 7th. 6-4, Miami on top.
Well, the other way we've arrived here is because Mark Buehrle really settled in. All 4 hits by the Rockies were in that first inning.
He threw 28 pitches in the first inning, but since then, look at that. He's still at 88. Helton in the air to left. Kearns is there and makes the catch. Now, the last time we were here and had an email Tuesday, a lot of fans wanted to know about the World Series flags in left. They were limp, lifeless. The Marlins had ordered stand-up flags that didn't need the wind. And there they are. Bigger, brighter,
and visible.
Buehrle now facing Ramon Hernandez. Hernandez, the veteran catcher. Rockies have a young catcher who's off to a great start, Willen Rosario.
Well, they say he's got some pop in his bat. Hit 21 home runs last year in Double-A. Very offensive-oriented catcher, and good for a young catcher to come up behind a guy like Ramon Hernandez.
Rosario already has 6 home runs this year. To right, Giancarlo's out there, and Stanton makes the catch. The next Jiffy Lube Friday Night Live is coming up on May 25th. The Marlins and the Giants at 7:10. After the game, head to the West Plaza for a free concert with freestyle icon George Lamond. Presented by Heineken Light. Lock in your tickets, 1-877-MARLINS, or go to marlins.com. Buehrle misses to the switch hitting center fielder Dexter Fowler. And the Giants in here for 4. The Nationals follow for 3. So a 10-game homestand.
I think for the first time, and we talked about it early on, 19 of the next 22 games at home. And for the first time this year, the ball club will get a chance to settle in, to get a nice feel for this new ballpark, and play some pretty good teams too.
See if they can make this a home field advantage type park. The Marlins are 9-7 at home, and a lot of that uneven play came in the month of April. Fowler feeling that Buehrle working too quickly there, and he steps out of the box. And he got him. 1, 2, 3. Mark Buehrle, a dozen pitches burned up in the 7th inning. And so it's the 33-year-old lefty that's in line to win this game. If his ball club can hang on to the lead, it may be his bullpen that has to protect this lead.
There's a whole lot of things to think about with Mark Buehrle tonight. How about this play early on? That was that ball that hit him in the foot. He didn't make the play. I guarantee he'll tell us he should make that play all the time. Kick save there. The ball goes out to Murphy. So it's a 1-4-3 out. And then this is routine. We see Buehrle get that ground ball, make a perfect throw. Murphy turns it, and the double play is there. The other thing I think has been remarkable about Buehrle tonight is that a couple of the innings, the big inning where the Marlins scored their 5 runs, and then even in the 5th inning, a lot of base runners, he's had some long waits in the dugout in between innings. And a lot of pitchers have trouble coming back from that. He has had no trouble at all. No hits for the Rockies since that first inning.
The big at bat was Giancarlo Stanton with Moyer wobbling in the 4th. The bases were loaded, and this is the at bat pitch by pitch.
Notice patience on that first pitch. Patience there. Pitch up out of the zone. Fouled the pitch off. It was up, but good one to hit. Another pitch up. A cutter in. Good patience to take that pitch. Moyer, I think, wanted it. And then the next one had a little more of the plate. And Stanton absolutely crushed it.
And that's when the scoring stopped in the bottom of the 4th inning. As Buehrle faces Reyes with Peterson and Hanley Ramirez to follow. Reyes, a soft liner out to Scutaro. 2-hit night for Reyes. He is 2 for 5. And here comes Peterson, who is 1 for 4, but he has struck out 3 times.
Well, the Marlins trying to continue on their terrific month of May. A win tonight, they'd go 15-5 in May. The most wins the Marlins have ever had in the month of May is 16.
It's a challenging schedule once the Fish get to June. And so having a good May is a nice bounce back from a slow start in the month of April. Remember, the Marlins had lost, was it 8 of 9 before going on that West Coast road trip, and they promptly won 8 of 9 on that trip with a sweep in San Francisco, a sweep in San Diego, and a series win, winning 2 of 3 in Houston.
Since the San Francisco sweep, the Marlins have won or tied every series, as we call those 2-game series a set. The 2 sets, one with the Pirates and the Braves, split. So the Marlins have not lost a series or a set since that sweep in San Francisco.
Peterson fouls it at the plate. This is the 3rd different pitcher that Peterson has faced. Moyer, Adam Ottavino, and Matt Buehrle. Of course, Josh Renicky came in to finish off that 4th inning for Moyer. 0-2, pulled foul.
Picked by Gary Thurman over there at first base. Talking to Gary about Stanton when he was taking BP and the way he was just crushing balls into the right field seats.
Peterson takes that pitch inside. It's 1-2.
As a teammate, you hate to be in the same group that Stanton's in during batting practice. It's intimidating.
You feel inadequate. Here's the 1-2. That's right down the middle. Peterson, ever since his base hit back in the 1st, remember that was a check swing. He has struck out 4 times,
and 3 of the 4 have been looking.
Moyer may have gotten in his head. Here's Hanley now. He's walked a couple times, has singled, and has flied out. Hanley slices that one down the line. Over for it. It lands fair off the wall. Colvin couldn't get it. And now he picks it up, and Hanley arrives at 3rd base.
And then double switch. Tyler Colvin came in to play right field. Slider off the end of the bat, and he kept slicing away from Colvin. He just couldn't get there. And then it took kind of a funny hop as he overran it. And Hanley will pick up the 3-base hit. He has this play in front of him all the way. And then once he rounds, now he takes a peek. Now he knows.
So here's an opportunity for the Fish to pick up an insurance run here in the bottom of the 7th. And Kearns, who is working on a perfect night, stands in. Look, he's blown out the back of his drawers there. That's an area you can see players' uniforms get torn all the time. And if you saw that last shot from the previous angle, you could see the area that was already repaired on those pants.
Seeing someone say, well, gee, why don't you go in and change him? He's 3 for 3 with a walk.
How about 4 for 4? He may be wearing those pants with a big old hole tomorrow. And there's your insurance run. Miami up 7-4.
The Marlins tonight are 5 for 13 with runners in scoring position. A much better job than we've seen over the last few weeks. great at bat. Just stays on it. Hammers that slider into right field to pick up Hanley at third base.
Chris Coughlin's going to come on, and Kearns is coming out of the ball game. And a nice ovation for Austin Kearns. He's done everything the Marlins have asked him to do this year, and he's done it well. 4 hits.
That's nice. The crowd here recognizing the 4-for-4 night. The other at bat, he was on base with a walk.
Breaking ball, ground ball. Pacheco gets the out at second base. Marlins baseball being brought to you commercial free by Tommy Hutton. Sings the hits from the 70s. If you pledge now, you can get your Tommy Hutton CD and possibly a Mark Buehrle t-shirt. And by the way, we remind you, the Panda's coming. The Giants will be here Thursday through Sunday. Yeah, Matt Cain, Tim Lincecum, Barry Zito has been that staff savior this year. Steven Strasburg and the Nationals. First look at the Nationals. Wouldn't be a Nationals Marlins game if Tyler Clippard didn't make an appearance.
Oh, he'll be in the game, trust me.
And of course, Bryce Harper will be there as well. Ian Desmond and the rest of the Nationals.
It looks like, Rich, we already have the matchups for that Giants series. Of course, the rest of this series, tomorrow night, Ricky Nolasco, his third try at becoming the all-time winningest Marlins pitcher. He'll go against Juan Nicasio, early back out there. And then Carlos Zambrano against Alex White, a right-hander. The Giants will send Vogelsong, coming off a great outing his last time out, Lincecum, Bumgarner, and Kane. So this is some good matchups against Sanchez, Josh Johnson, Buehrle again, and Ricky Nolasco. So that's what we get to look forward to, and there's some great games against the Giants in that series.
That's a Thursday through Sunday. Remember, Saturday's game starts at 4:10, and on Monday, on Memorial Day, start an afternoon game on Monday against the Nationals. That opens up that series.
Chris Coughlin stays in the game and plays left field.
And who would have thought Buehrle,
just thinking the same thing,
would arrive in the 8th inning with a 3-run lead, no less. Last season, starter innings, the Marlins 23rd in the big leagues, 12th in the 16-team National League. But this year the starters getting deep, and Buehrle certainly qualifying 2nd in the National League, 4th in Major League Baseball.
Well, that's why last year the Marlins bullpen threw over 515 innings. That was 6th highest in the major leagues.
This is Tyler Colvin, and he pokes one foul.
So the starters don't go deep. That just burns up your bullpen.
Colvin, a guy that was a phenom in college at Clemson, first round in 2006 by the Cubs. And he had a very nice 2010. He hit 20 homers in 354 at-bats, 18 doubles. But last year he really struggled. 80 games he hit $150. And so Colvin lines it to right. Stanton is there. Colvin going from the Cubs to the Rockies. Ian Stewart, one of the principals, going in the other direction. And it's always fun to call upon our Chevron starters. We love the car. Cue the car. Nice. Got to lay out for that last bit of sound there. Nicasio against Nolasco. And Ricky trying to bounce back from 2 starts in which he's been knocked around.
And Nicasio coming back from that awful injury last year when he was struck by a line drive and broke the C1 vertebrae in his neck.
Scutaro, a high pop-up. Hanley looks out to Coughlin and says, it's all yours. And Coughlin makes the catch. And here is Buehrle, just an out away from putting 8 innings in the books.
With actually a shot to throw a complete game. He's had 106 pitches right now. This is incredible.
It really is. There's Choate. I mean, what was it, 28 pitches in the first inning? 28 pitches in the first inning, 4 runs in the first inning. And here he is with 2 outs in the 8th. And a change up for a strike to Jordan Pacheco.
In that first inning, he threw 18 balls of the 28 pitches. He's thrown only 21 balls since.
One misses away, and the count is 2-1. Top 8, 7-4. Miami on top. See Joey Cora, Randy St. Clair, Ozzie Guillen all watching from the rail. Pacheco fouls it back. It's amazing how different this game feels from Buehrle's last start, in which he also gave up 4 runs. And that was in Atlanta.
That was in 6 innings.
That line drive ends up in right center field. And Peterson picks it up. Big turn by Pacheco. And here comes Carlos Gonzalez. Now, will Ozzie Guillen come out and get Buehrle? And it looks like he will. Guillen not wanting this inning to get rolling here and bring up, say, a Kadire or a Tulowitzki with a chance for the Marlins to lose the lead. And there's Buehrle.
He's going to get a nice round of applause. Well deserved.
He deserves it. So Mark Buehrle gets as far as the 8th with 2 outs. Randy Choate will come to the mound. Commercial free tonight here on Fox Sports Florida. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, Craig Minervini. Jeff Conine will join Craig for Marlins Live. Our pledge drive will be ending in the 9th inning.
That's been kind of fun. We've had a chance to talk through some things. Sometimes we feel like we're a little rushed to get through some things that we want to show you, and we've had a lot of opportunities tonight.
Now, here's something you want to watch and listen to. This was the big moment. This was the bags loaded. The Marlins were getting flustered by Jamie Moyer. The 49-year-old was on the mound. He was wobbling. Giancarlo Stanton was at the plate. It was a long at bat, and it got to 3-2. The Marlins were down by a couple, and here's what happened. The 3-2 to Stanton. Driven to left. Deep. Gone! Grand slam! He waited out the veteran and hits it out of here.
Oh, and she loves it. The 22-year-old outweighted the 49-year-old. That was theater.
The Warren Henry drive of the game. And that was the big blow of the ballgame, which is not over. And the Marlins still need to get 4 outs. Randy Choate comes out of the bullpen trying to finish off the 8th. After Jordan Pacheco has singled, he knocks Buehrle out of the game, and here is Carlos Gonzalez.
Well, Gonzalez always a guy who has hit lefties pretty well. He had some pretty good swings against Buehrle. So Ozzie, realizing that, wanted to counter with a side-arming lefty of Randy Choate, who continues to match up and do a nice job out of the bullpen.
No swing from Carlos Gonzalez. Gonzalez, despite the Rockies' struggles, is having a nice year. Third in the National League in RBIs. He's hitting a whopping .441 with runners in scoring position. He has scored a run tonight. He's got 30 runs scored. That's tops in the National League.
He won the batting title a couple of years ago.
Cargo, as he's known.
He really came on the scene in '09 in the division series the Rockies had against the Phillies. He was 10 for 17. He had 588 in that series.
He is one of those guys, Andre Ethier being another, that Billy Beane traded out of Oakland and ended out being pretty darn good. Hanley races up, has it, fires the first in time. Mission accomplished for Randy Choate. Bottom of the 8th. 7-4. Marlins on top. Hitting the road, I'll take the Marlins with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Marlins out-of-market game live on your favorite device in HD quality. Visit Marlins.com to order. Get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Now, due to some technical issues, we are commercial-free tonight. Sort of public television does Major League Baseball. We told you that if you would like to make a donation, you will get Tommy Hutton Sings hits from the 70s, and
I'll break out the guitar again.
And at the $100 level, you'll get the box set of Frank Fort's Inside the Marlins. Frank will autograph the discs, and you'll get all those, including Inside the Marlins, The Vendors, which was a long-lost episode that was never seen before.
There are some in that packet, some lost episodes.
The outtakes of Frank alone are worth the $100 donation, as we try to keep Marlins baseball commercial-free tonight.
The scoldings he gets from Mike Fernandez while trying to tape those.
The time the crumbs from the donuts are on his sport coat before he does his ins and outs. Why don't we just go out to the bar? That would make the commercial time fly.
Well, I'll tell you what, this has been This has been a fun game because it didn't start out that way, and that's why we always tell you to stay with us. You know, stick with us for 9 innings.
That's why we ended up trolling the bar with our remote camera.
But the way it started with the two left-handers, the 49-year-old Matt Reynolds, a lefty, comes out there now, and Mark Buehrle giving up 4 runs in that first inning, and some good swings by the Rockies in the first, the double by Kadire, the 2-run homer by Tulowitzki. And then after that, the only other hit the Rockies got was a Pacheco single in the 8th inning. Incredible.
You see, Reynolds has come on. That's the other thing. The Rockies have brought a steady parade of relievers on, as Moyer lasted just 3 2/3 innings. Morrison has seen every kind of delivery from a variety of pitchers.
Yeah, and you know what? That filters into the next game. Your bullpen so much. So Jim Tracy, I'm sure, thinking about that right now.
1-1. One and 2.
Have a big guy with a short arm delivery is Matt Reynolds.
Heath Bell in the pen. This is a team that Bell has seen a lot of and then has seen a lot of him in the National League West. Reynolds appeared in 73 games last year. Morrison, Buck, Murphy, bottom 8. Morrison spins out of the way.
These are the types of games that build confidence when you get down early. The Marlins pecked away, got a run in the 3rd before their outburst in the 4th.
Fowler makes the catch. And Morrison is out number 1. John Buck coming up. So, and, you know, that all added to the whole moment of Stanton's grand slam. The fact that the Marlins had base runners in the 1st, they left 2 against Moyer. They had 2 more that they left in the 2nd, 2 more that they left in the 3rd. And it looked like Moyer was going to wriggle out of that 4th inning, giving up just the 1 run before Stanton crushed it. And that was the damage on the scoreboard.
Yeah, right in here. Not the cute little girl, the mark. Everybody in the lineup, by the way, has at least 1 hit, except John Buck, but he's walked a couple of times.
And it was Buehrle's double that started the rally in the 4th inning against Moyer. And remember how close that ball was to being fouled. Buck swings and misses, and he strikes out for the 2nd time. Austin Kearns had a big night, 4 hits. But a tough road right now for John Buck, who is 0 for 3. He's 0 for his last 14. And in that 0 for 14, 8 strikeouts. Murphy now takes a strike.
Yeah, and to show you how weird the night is, the Marlins have struck out 13 times in the game.
Reynolds quickly out in front of Donnie Murphy. The Rockies will have the pitcher spot up, Tulowitzki and Helton in the 9th. Ground ball short. That would be Tulo. And his throw, wow, don't see that very often. Pulls Helton off the bag. 1 Gold Glover to another. Helton picks up his shortstop. There's no urgency to go to commercial because there aren't any, so we can take our time on the replay.
A good play by Helton to come off the bag and then be able to get the tag on Murphy. We told you Tulowitzki has 7 errors this year already. He made 6 all of last season.
And we get a chance to see in real time Heath Bell coming in from the bullpen. I talked to Ozzie Guillen before the ball game about Bell, and he said that the Marlins have been encouraged by what they've seen from Bell, especially on that road trip. Ozzie said the ball's down more. The breaking balls are sharper. He's throwing them for strikes. And here comes Bell in what is a save situation in the 9th inning. Into what is a 7-4 ball game.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we've seen. We've seen the fastball velocity stay the same. It's good, big, good. But we've seen the location, more pitches knee high. The breaking ball has been there. He's been able to get ahead. He put a couple of hitters away with the breaking ball. So those have all been good signs in watching Heath Bell. And you know what? Hey, he admits he had his problems in April, but he's professional enough. He knows what he has to do, and he knows there's still a lot of baseball to be played, and there's still a lot of games to be saved.
Tommy, there's still a lot of television, Marlins Live, presented commercial-free by Checkers. A generous donation, tax deductible, by Checkers will allow us to bring you Marlins Live with actual highlights, actual stats, actual announcers with Craig.
Yeah, this no commercial thing's killing me. I usually go get stuff to eat between innings.
Well, I got news for you. We're not getting paid tonight. That's what public TV's all about.
Really?
Yep.
Jonathan Herrera is going to pinch hit, so he'll be the first hitter. They're the numbers. And early in May, that's why the 587 in May. But numbers getting better. Heath Bell knows a lot of ball games out there left.
This is a night where Mark Buehrle went 7 2/3. There's a look at Herrera. 5 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts for Buehrle. And Bell ready to go to work. And again, you've got Tulowitzki and Helton behind Herrera. Herrera, the 27-year-old Venezuelan switch hitter. This is his 11th year in the Rockies organization, which tells you he signed when he was 16. His 38th appearance against the Rockies.
You're right about facing Herrera. You want to get him, given the fact that Tulowitzki and Helton coming up next.
Right-hander Alex White for the Rockies. Carlos Zambrano for the Marlins. Tomorrow night, or actually on Wednesday night, that one fouled back to the screen. Nicasio Nolasco tomorrow night. Then the Giants in for 4. Nationals in for 3. Saturday, a 4:10 start. Monday, a 1:10 start here at Marlins Park. 1 and 2, Bell working on Herrera. Buck framed it, but it's out, and it's 2 and 2. And it was just out. That one pulled wide of first. If Bell can nail down this save, the Marlins will move a season high 4 over the 500 mark. And pin loss number 208 on Jamie Moyer.
Phillies have been beat 2-1 by the Nationals. I believe the Mets have lost to the Pirates.
Herrera won't go away right now.
And the Reds beat the Braves. Reds are coming on strong, by the way. They entered play today a half game behind St. Louis.
Mike Leake got his first win and homered in that ball game for the Reds. Slow tapper. Morrison approaches. Bell and Lomo got all tangled up. You're looking at a first baseman that has been in the outfield for the last 2 seasons. He has taken ground balls at first, but you can't simulate this.
No, he's trying to rush this because it's going to be close play. Bell's going to be there to cover. Came up on him a little, and no play at all. He'll be charged with an error. There's that ball kind of came up on him.
now Tulowitzki's up. Helton is on deck. Fastball up and in. Tulowitzki against Bell, 1-15. Helton against Bell, 5 for 13. With 13 at-bats, the 15 at-bats by Tulowitzki, the most of any Rocky against him. That might be two. Reyes. Murphy with the tag.
God, that's a good feeling. I tell you what, it's a better feeling for Logan Morrison, who booted the ball that allowed Herrera to reach. Good pitch by Bell to get that ground ball double play. And sneaking in there to play second base is Donovan Solano. Snuck in on us for his major league debut, and what does he get to do? Turn a double play.
That's what happens when you're filling time during the commercials. You don't get a chance to see guys.
You miss some of those player changes.
Yeah. Our apologies to Donovan Solano. A fine job on that double play.
Yeah, he did a great job in spring training, and that's why he's here.
Here is Helton now. And Bell's fastball is fouled back.
I think we talked about that in the spring. You have a great spring, you open people's eyes, and then when there's a need at the major league level, say, hey, what about Solano? He played great in spring training.
That's exactly what Ozzie Guillen said in Cleveland when the Marlins made that decision to bring Solano up, and they had to add him to the 40-man. Solano came up in the Cardinals organization. Helton liner left field. Coghlan with a catch. 7-4 the final. Heath Bell shuts the door, and the Marlins beat the Rockies. The incredible run in the month of May continues for the Fish. 15-5 in May, and Giancarlo Stanton with his 4th career grand slam, his 2nd of the season. A dramatic blast against 49-year-old Jamie Moyer. Just when the Marlins looked like they'd be frustrated all night against the veteran, Stanton's grand slam put him up. And the Marlins coast from there thanks to Mark Buehrle, who got it under control and ended up getting into the 8th inning, delivering it to the bullpen. Austin Kearns was 4 for 4 in the ball game. Randy Choate got it out.